Greetings, everyone. It is a wonderful episode of Soccer Over There. It is your host, Nick Leafy, and as the transfer wheel turns, with my wonderful, esteemed, glorious colleague, Mr. Jason Longshore, the godfather of all things soccer. Jason, how are you?
I'm good. I'll be glad when this week's over. Transfer window's no fun.
Oh, come on. Stop. The transfer window's amazing.
Not when you have a league and club changing deal that you're waiting to see what's going to happen. Not when, what are we up to? Three other players who have been linked to possible deals now. And you might have to do a loan if that league-changing transfer deal doesn't happen in this window. That's a lot of stuff.
But see, this is what we asked for.
It's true.
As MLS fans, we've all sat back and said, when will MLS catch up to the rest of the world? And this is what you asked for. And so, we have the robotic mic scrubbing of one Mr. John Nelson joining us.
Yes, when the mic scrubbing happens, you know it's time for John Nelson to join the show.
Woo!
Something like that.
That's right. John, you surviving out there, man?
Well, considering that a member of the family sent the Festivus box today.
Oh my!
And for those who follow me on social media, you will see what the top gift of said Festivus box is, and always will be. A SummerSlam Ric Flair action figure.
Oh, yes. That's amazing.
It is. It is truly amazing. But he looks more like Roger Stone than he does Ric Flair.
Oh, that's kind of sad. So it's late years Ric Flair.
Apparently so, but he's still pretty ripped though. He's got the abs. He's got the Stretch Armstrong guns going with him.
All right. Well, fair enough.
But yeah, action figure SummerSlam Ric Flair, book it.
All right. Well, there we go. And we were just talking, John, about how MLS fans are finally getting what they asked for regarding, the desire to be caught in the middle of all things transfers. And when are we going to be up there with the big boys? Well, we are now swimming with the big boys. And as a result of that, all of our players are now seemingly caught up in transfer rumors. So this is.
I don't think MLS fans ask for the Sebastian Giovinco and Kaku nonsense, though.
Well, no, but that's part of it, though. It's part and parcel with that next step is that you will have players. And if anything, it goes to show the operation that Atlanta's running, where you have a player who clearly wants to go to Europe in Miguel Almiron, and you're not hearing any of the same mess that you're hearing from Toronto or Red Bulls, where you have, a player who says, oh, you didn't pick up my Uber tab or my furniture tab like you promised you would, and now I want to leave and I'm not being treated like a star. Well, are you hearing anything like that from Miguel Almiron or Miguel's agent?
No, he's training every day.
Zero.
Yeah. Lots of smiles on Instagram, right? Smiling, cheerful, happy.
Meals.
Because this is business. It's about being a professional, and either your club is unprofessional or the person is unprofessional when this stuff goes sideways. And it seems like in Red Bull's case, it kind of went both ways on that particular end. And you have a player in Giovinco who has openly stated that he was unhappy that the club wasn't going to commit to him last year. And this year you're starting to reap what you sow with that, where you have a player who says, okay, the rumors are at least out there, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that I want out, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I now have a leg injury, insert next transfer rumor here. This is all part of the process. And the transfers and loans are a 3-person partnership. You have the buying club who wants a player. Player needs to want to go to that club, or at least have a somewhat willingness to go to the club. Then you have the selling club or potential selling club who wants to be okay with selling that player or loaning that player out. If any of that falls apart, it's a wrap. Now, in the case of Toronto, I'm sure they would love to be able to do it like the NFL, where they just say, okay, Giovinco, you're under contract with us, suck it up and deal with it. But it just doesn't work that way in the world of soccer. You don't want someone who's that disgruntled in your locker room. So you need to go ahead and find a solution that works. And if Toronto was smart about it, they would. I'm sure they're trying to shop them as we speak. But if there's a deal in place, you get what you can and get out of Dodge with a little bit of money in your pocket. So that takes us to our next bit when we talk about the professionalism of Atlanta and how what's going on with the Newcastle situation, because everybody wants to know about what's happening with Newcastle and, is this deal happening or is it not? I am putting this out there. I 100% believe this move is not going to happen. And I think this move is different than a lot of other transfer rumors where it's like, oh, no, we're not going to move from this number. This is all we're going to do. And, just deal with it. And then it gets up to the last day and the last couple of, and all of a sudden, okay, fine. Cut the check. It's like the old Larry David thing. The only time a contract works is when everybody's angry. Like that's the only way, it's a good deal. I don't think it's going to happen here, because if we look at some of the loan deals that have fallen through for Newcastle, it's just magnificent in its level of abject failure. So you had Lukaku, not the older brother Lukaku, but the younger brother Lukaku, who is going to leave Lazio. Jordan Lukaku was going to leave Lazio, and the move allegedly to Newcastle was a loan deal. It failed at medical, according to Newcastle. He didn't pass medical. As a result, it fell apart. That's what's been accepted. That's not necessarily the case according to Lazio, because Lazio says, well, that's all fine and good, but he played versus Napoli the Sunday before, so what do you mean there's something wrong with the player? Because if he was busted, we wouldn't have played him, and he wouldn't have been on our roster. So what do you mean our player's busted? And then they further dropped the T by saying, oh, no, actually it comes down to Newcastle suddenly disagreeing with the percentage of wage they were willing to cover. So when you start examining things like this, or the fact that Gelson Martins picked Monaco and over Newcastle, who, keep in mind, and yes, everybody's like, well, of course, Monaco, yeah, it's beautiful people, whatnot. But keep in mind that Monaco just fired Henry, then brought back the manager who they fired to bring in Henry. So if you're choosing that level of dysfunction over Newcastle, what does that say about that particular club? So, guys, I turn it over to you. I think this move is absolutely not happening. I'm putting a 0% chance on it, stamping it. I'm putting it on the board.
Wow. That's bold. I'm not going to go that far, because Newcastle's just so desperate, and we know they don't spend. It's Newcastle. We know all that, but they are this desperate, and you could look at them penny pinching on a loan deal and trying to pull some shenanigans to try to get every last dime together to give it to Atlanta United to get Miguel Almiron. They desperately need the guy. I don't know if they're going to do it either, but I'm not going to say 0 chance. It's a low percentage chance. What I'm interested in, Nick, is the talk, and haven't really seen anything else from it, the talk out of Newcastle that Miguel's agent, Daniel Campos, was headed to Italy and mentioned Napoli specifically.
Yeah, Napoli, I think there are a couple teams in Italy that I think that he could really fit well with, Miguel Almiron. And Napoli is obviously the first one. Now, with Sarri there, he ran a system that I thought would have fit Miguel probably a little bit better than Ancelotti. But Ancelotti is known for a couple of things, one of which is getting the most out of his players. And if you bring in a player, he will commit to you. He will give you every opportunity to prove yourself. He's not one of those managers who has a very quick hook. So if you get out there, you make some mistakes, you need to grow in a system, he will get you there. And almost to a person, everyone who has ever played for Carlo Ancelotti loves that man. And if you get a chance to pick up his autobiography, I have it. It's right next to my bedside. It is a must read. It shows about the time when he was leaving Milan and he was going to Chelsea, and his conversations with Abramovich, and really his path up to becoming a manager. He's a colorful character, somebody who gave the middle finger to some fans because they criticized his favorite type of pasta. So if that tells you anything about the guy himself, he's pretty awesome. So I think Miggy to Napoli would be an outstanding move. He's guaranteed to see Champions League play. You don't really have the drama that's going to surround you. Like in England, the team does a pretty good job of insulating their players. They rally around their guys. You saw the Koulibaly deal where he faced a racist chance at Inter. The team absolutely rallied around him and threatened to walk off the field. It's a team that I would play for. If I were a player, I'd have no problems going to Napoli. I would absolutely avoid any move to Lazio, but Lazio could use him. But I really think another team that could use him would be Genoa. Cesare Prandelli is the manager there. They just sold Piontek to Milan. They have a nice bit of cash in their pocket. And if you want to move up the table, there's a chance to do for you, then I think Genoa has that opportunity. And you're sitting 13th if you're Genoa, so you need to make a move now. But Napoli sitting comfortable at second. You're a few points behind Juve. You're competitive. I don't know. I think that's a great move for him if it gets done. And they have money to do it.
And I'm looking back at the Premier League, I think, to Newcastle. I think it's slim to none, and Slim just left town. I'm looking still at West Ham. I'm looking at Tottenham because of injuries. But Tottenham, for me, would be number 3 on the list because of when people return from injuries. Yes, I know it would be something akin to an audition for Miguel when he would be doing work at Spurs and proving himself in the interim until Dele Alli is back and then everyone else. But frankly, right now, and I know that I'm mixing forwards and midfielders, but Miguel Almiron right now is better than Fernando Llorente up top. Anything, please. And they're just lacking a whole lot of offensive firepower and any kind of juice to get that offense moving. And it was evidenced by them getting bumped out by Crystal Palace in the FA Cup last weekend. But you know, if the agent, if Campos is going to Italy to kind of kick the tires there, I think that once again, if anything happens with Miguel, it's going to be at the last. And the gnashing of teeth that we will have when it comes to a deadline day show late Thursday afternoon is going to be right there hanging up with us.
Yeah, if you're a Serie A fan right now, you have to be hoping that this move gets done. And not to mention that if he goes to a Serie A, he gets a bit of a reprieve. If he goes immediately to the Premier League, every eyeball will be on Newcastle. Every eyeball will be looking at Newcastle just because of their position, 1, and 2, you just signed one of the most expensive signings, the most expensive signing in MLS history. Well, if that's a market that we're going to do business in the future, let's see how this player reacts when thrown into the deep end of the pool, in the deepest part of the pool, where you have a team in the Prem who's in a relegation battle. If the player crumbles, what does that say about teams that come from MLS? Well, they're not necessarily ready. That, you know, obviously there's talent there, but the system just doesn't, you know, produce players who are capable of competing at this level. Much like we talk about with Big 12 quarterbacks, you know, coming from like Texas Tech and throwing them into the NFL. Well, once in a while you have a really good one who comes out, but by and large, 98% of the people who come from that kind of spread option offense, they end up crapping out. So we don't want that to happen for Miguel if you're an MLS fan. I don't care what fan of a club you are. You want this move to work and you want him to thrive, because when your team comes up and it's a Bayern Munich, or if it is an Atalanta, or, you know, a West Ham knocking at the door saying, hey, we want to take your superstar, if Miguel's success will equal your success, especially when it comes to that transfer valuation that gets slapped on your favorite player.
It's an interesting time because you have this chatter about Miguel Almiron, and is it going to be 20, 25, $30 million? It's going to be a lot, and it's going to be a record. You have Alphonso Davies go over and get into Bayern's lineup this weekend. You have Tyler Adams step straight into a Bundesliga lineup. You also have a lot of players who are looking to come to MLS. Couple rumors that have popped up this afternoon. Nani's representatives are shopping him around MLS. He is at Sporting Lisbon right now. He's under contract through summer of 2020. Eric Krakauer, who's at BN Sports, says salary demands are an issue for some clubs, particularly the two that the winger is inclined to play for. Don't know who that is. So Nani's 31 years old, 32 years old. Not,
yeah.
30, I think 32. Not completely past it. You know, I mean, that's a decent age to look at. Another player who is linked to potentially Real Salt Lake and the Portland Timbers, Marouane Fellaini. Hasn't been playing lately. That's another, fairly big name. These are different types of players that are interested. We always have the South American players that are linked. Now you're starting to get guys not at the end of their career, but maybe a contract away from their last contract who are interested in what's going on over here. It is part of the cycle now. You know, what's going on in Major League Soccer is attracting the attention of every league around the world. There are some leagues who are going to be looking to sell to MLS. There are other leagues that are going to be looking to buy from MLS. It's just part of that conversation now. And you're going to have what we've had in the last couple of days. Atlanta United, we know the Miguel Almiron stuff. But you're getting rumors now of Franco Escobar, of Tito Villalba, of Leandro Gonzalez-Pirez, drawing interest. You've had rumors involving Ezequiel Barco drawing interest. We know the roster issue for Atlanta United, but now you have more eyeballs looking at who's coming out of this league. When you have the weekend that you did with Davies and with Adams going straight into Bundesliga teams and not looking out of place at all, this is going to be what happens this week. You're going to have a lot of clubs who are like, maybe it's okay to go spend that money on Miguel Almiron. Maybe there's somebody else I should go spend that money on as well. It's a different ballgame now.
And one thing to note is that I think you're 100% correct in that, Jason. And I also think that people are going to freak out if March 1 rolls around and Miguel is still here. Like, where did this go wrong? What went sideways? Did we charge too much? We should have gone lower. We should have done like $15 million. The shoulda. Everyone, I want to just put it out there, just reel that back a little bit, because the summer window is a completely different animal than the winter window. And we've talked about this before, where in the winter window, you have teams that are either trying to reach a Europa or a Champions League spot, or they're trying to build depth for a Champions League run, or they're trying to fight relegation. And if they're fighting relegation or they're trying to claw their way into a Europa League spot, they're probably not the richest club in the world. So they're going to be tight with their cash. In the summer, it's a different animal because you have managers coming, managers going. I think this player, fits my system better than this player. Players going back and forth. Transfer values skyrocket as soon as one stupid transfer goes through. So as a result of that, there's far more options for you in the summer window. So keeping a Miguel, being very competitive in the CONCACAF Champions League, I think that's a win. And I think it's smart business on our end because we have to protect the asset Miguel, and we have to protect future earnings by ensuring that he goes to a spot where he has the best chance of success. And so I want to make sure everybody kind of keeps that in the back of their mind, as opposed to this, we failed because we couldn't get rid of him in this one transfer window.
That's the biggest thing that I'm like throwing things at the wall about when I read. It's either Atlanta has no leverage or Atlanta has to sell because if you don't, it's a failure. No. If you don't sell, you have Miguel Almiron for the CONCACAF Champions League run. That's not exactly a bad thing. You can find a loan for Ezequiel Barco. And again, I think people are trying to find storylines here that just aren't here. When you look at pictures of this team training and hanging out, it's Almiron, it's LGP, it's Villalba, it's Barco, it's Remedi, it's Escobar. They're all hanging out. Pity Martinez is there as well now, hanging out with these guys. You don't have that friction. They understand the business. Barco's on a long-term deal making more money than he's ever made in his life. If he has to go on loan for a short period of time, one, you're going to find a club that's going to benefit him. He's going to get to play, and he's going to then step back in a situation where he's sharp, and he's going to be a different player, the player that we're excited to see. It's not a bad thing if he has to go out on loan. It's not a bad thing if Miguel Almiron has to be here through the summer because the deal just isn't there. It's a very smart thing for Atlanta United to hold to the ballpark that they are in on what they're asking for. Is there wiggle room? Sure. Obviously. That's how you do a deal. Could they maybe take a little bit less money up front, put some of that into incentive-based? Sure. That's how you deal. But to say that Atlanta has to sell now, no. To say that it's a bad thing if Miguel Almiron doesn't get sold in this window, no. To say it's a horrible thing for Ezequiel Barco's career if he has to go out on loan, no. None of those things are true. Stop trying to create a narrative that just isn't there. Atlanta United's going to do what's right for Atlanta United, period. That's where you're at right now.
And in dealing with something like that, if Atlanta United were to cave and do some bargain basement dump out, and it's $15 million, what you've done is set a precedent, and you have put a big red sign over whatever building you want to put it on. You put a big red sign over Mercedes-Benz Stadium sitting there saying, we'll sell star players for cheap just to get rid of them so we can clear space. That's a bad precedent for Atlanta United, bad precedent for MLS, and all it does is it takes years to fix that reputation that you would have set for yourself if you dump out on a deal.
Yeah, essentially you'll say Mercedes-Benz Stadium is the outlet store. That's all you're doing.
The outlet mall.
If you make that move. And when Bellows' time comes to go to Europe, it's going to, allegedly the best transfer in MLS history, we only got for 15 mil, so why should we pay, X amount for this player? We'll give you half of that. And that's going to be the new negotiating point is they're going to come in and they're going to try to do a massive undercut because they will think that we have no clue what we're doing. And that's not the case at all. And if you are Barco, we got you from where? Independiente, you're still making more money. And let's say we loan you to a Boca or a River. I mean, traditionally that would be viewed as an upgrade, would it not? I mean, you're going to get a lot of playing time. You're going to compete at a very high level. You're going to have a massive profile, but it's not going to do it in Atlanta for a year. Oh, no.
Maybe 6 months. Maybe 6 months. Maybe a year. It's. I would think probably 6 months. I mean, I think the way, if that's what happens, and that's still an if, that's still a big if, because I think if the deal is there for Miguel Almiron, that's what everybody wants to get done here. If that deal is not there, I think what happens is it's a loan for probably a calendar year with a recall option, or it's a 6-month loan with an option to extend it another 6 months. It's all going to depend on when you transfer Miguel Almiron. And if he doesn't go in this window, I think he goes in the summer window. And that's when you bring Barco back, you swap like for like, there you go, done. Everything is solved and everybody is happy. I don't think it's as contentious as people have tried to make it out to be. That's the issue I've had, is that you're trying to create drama where everyone in Atlanta involved in this situation appears to be on the same page. You've not heard any agents chirping about getting a deal done now. You've not seen any agents posting pictures from Google image search onto their Instagram saying they are in Saudi Arabia. You have not seen that. You've not heard any claims about furniture bills not being paid for. You're not getting any of that. Everybody knows what the deal is, and everybody's trying to get the right deals done here. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to know how this could go, you just look at Inter with Icardi and his agent wife, Wanda, who pretty much was threatening to demand a transfer to somewhere else. And then, we don't feel like we're being respected here, that he is the offense. He's the one who's keeping Inter in their position, and we can do so much better than this. All of it whittled down within like 2.5 weeks of, okay, we're happy to renegotiate. It was all posture. And so there's going to be a lot of this for the next few days, and it's going to get really stupid. You're going to start hearing rumors on everyone. I mean, Justin, the translator from from Atlanta United, is probably going to be evaluated by somebody, and He might be on the route.
So you'd have transfer translator. You'd have transfer translator market.
Right. Yeah, it could happen. The third water jug from the left could be on the transfer market before it's all over with. We don't know, but it's all rumor. It's all gossip. And I know Jason doesn't necessarily enjoy this part of the game, but it's what makes this part of the year awesome, because it allows us all to sort of engage our inner football manager and start building dream teams of who can go where and how will that benefit my team for the next 2 or 3 months. And look at it this way. If Rafa Benitez does not get the players he wants at Newcastle, he's leaving. He's going to go to another team, probably with a better budget. He still likes Miguel Almiron. I imagine one of the first calls would be back to Atlanta United. Hey, guys, I'm in a better position financially. I finally have an owner who's willing to spend some cash. Let's start talking turkey on Miguel. What's the bidding?
Yeah, definitely.
Last
good
time
point.
It was 50 mil.
Now, I like this. I like the talk about, okay, we can add this piece, we can get this piece. I don't like the manufactured drama around it. That's where I get frustrated. And whether it's an agent, whether it's a reporter, whatever it is, trying to create drama, there's already enough drama. And is a deal going to get done because of this price tag? Does it fit here? Does it fit here? That's the stuff that I really like. How can you upgrade your team? You're in a tight spot. You need to add a couple of pieces to get into Champions League. Okay, what can you go get? What's an upgrade? I love that stuff. I just don't like hearing about agents and Google image searches and people leaving camp and, oh, they're injured. Oh, they're going to see a doctor. No, they said they were going home to Toronto. That type of nonsense. That's the stuff that's just, oh, really? This is where we're at? Maybe we'll have another Bomba de Pereira here shortly.
Oh, see, the Wednesday, I think Wednesday's when we get our Bombas. Or Thursday around lunchtime Eastern time is when we get our Bombas.
They're not on the air Thursday at lunchtime. I think Bomba de Pereira, I think he saves it for the show. There was some chatter about conversation around Tito Villalba on today's show. I have not seen any follow-up on that. I guess it did not get full Bomba treatment. I still think it is down to Club America wants Kaku, and they want to get Kaku from the Red Bulls, and they do have a price tag that they want to spend. It sounds like they are looking at Villalba as more of a backup option to Kaku if they don't get him. How long are they going to try to get this deal done with the Red Bulls? Who knows? That's, again, part of the transfer silliness and nonsense, and that's where we're at.
That's a move I think gets done
right
at the. I think that move gets done right at the death. If Kaku wants that move that badly, Red Bulls, I don't think Chris Thomas is going to want to have that locker room, for lack of a better term, a locker room cancer. So he's going to have to move the player. And if you're a team with a culture like Red Bulls, you can't have anything upset that culture. Get him out. You can replace him. That's not a problem. So
yeah, that's a key thing to remember for everybody is the way the transfer windows line up, and we've talked about it in terms of the potential loan of an Ezequiel Barco, and Argentina's window runs through February 20th. Brazil's window runs through early April. MLS window runs through early May. So you do have your season kickoff, and you're running out of time to get somebody integrated into the squad, but you do have a good bit of time. If you're the Red Bulls, you can take it all the way up until the deadline for Mexico, which is Thursday. If you get it done, cool. Then you've got whatever amount of money to work with to go get a replacement, and you've got time. Now, it's a different shopping window because you're going to have to buy from a club or buy a player who you don't have to worry about being replaced because other windows are closed. Like, you're not going to get somebody key from a championship level squad in England unless that club is just, this guy doesn't fit into our plans at all. Fine, bye. Because they're not going to be able to bring in a replacement. That's the one thing to keep in mind here. But MLS teams will be able to add players after this window. This window is for incoming to the major European leagues and Mexico, the window that ends on Thursday. Portugal ends a couple days later. it's incoming for those leagues, not outgoing. Players could still come from those leagues to Major League Soccer. So keep that in mind when you're talking about Red Bulls, about Toronto, and the situations that they're dealing with. They could run these things down to the wire and get something done and then go get a replacement before the season starts.
And now here's a random of randomest questions when it comes to players like Kaku and how Atlanta United ties in. Is it possible that PT Martinez just gets PT on the back of his kit since Kaku got Kaku on the back of his?
He had it on a River Plate kit, so it's very possible. I mean, you're taking it another step further than people who are obsessing over what number he is wearing on his training kit. Because that's getting out of hand. I don't care. It's blank because they don't have to set the roster yet. We know what the issue is. So just relax. You're not going to get into a situation where... Look, you're not going to find out Miguel Almiron is transferred because Pity Martinez walks out on the training ground with a number 10 shirt on, okay? You're going to hear about the Miguel transfer first. Don't look for clues there. It's all right. He doesn't need a number right now. It's all good.
But and for people who are trying to come up with the crazy, jersey permutations, keep in mind that Ivan Zamorano, who played for Inter, had a 1+8 jersey because he wanted to wear 9, but he couldn't wear 9 because you had Ronaldo, classic Ronaldo there, and then Baggio came in, so he couldn't get 9 or 10, so he had to get 1+8, and that's what he wore when he was at Inter. So dumber things have happened than PT being on the back of a jersey, I can assure you.
Oh, River Plate, they did that because, he doesn't go by Gonzalo. He goes by Pity. It's what he's been called since he was 5 years old. So if there's there's Joseph in the team. I don't know if we're going to get the classic J Martinez and G Martinez or P Martinez, or if it's going to be Joseph keeps his as is and then PT is PT. Who knows? We'll see. It'll be fun to see, but I don't think MLS will allow pluses or minuses or equal signs in their numbering system, and I don't think they'll go full Liga MX and allow 3-digit numbers. That would be fun.
To me would be you get three numbers. That'd be pretty epic.
No, it'd be ridiculous, and no, let's not do that because then
with Georgia Tech in town, we could have somebody come out with like the square root symbol on the back of their jersey. We could have that, right? We could
the
3.14 on the back. We could have that.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk about some of the stuff that's gone on in the last week, not transfer related, because there's been some things. There's some things we have to discuss. There was a brawl on the field in Argentina now that the Superliga is back. That was good stuff. We'll talk about that. There was a possum on the field in Mexico, and it was the man of the match, and we'll talk about that.
Which was awesome.
And we'll get caught up on the major leagues and stuff that happened in Europe and maybe some England and Italia and all of it. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Today's show is presented by Appolinsky & Associates, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience, supporters of Atlanta United, Faction, and Inter-Atlanta Youth Football Club. If you've been hurt in a wreck, contact Steve today at steve@aa-legal.com or call in 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All right, welcome everyone back to Soccer Over There. It's Nick, Jason, and John, and we are going to hit the leagues. We're going to do a little deep dive now. We're going to start off with Argentina. As promised, we will be discussing more South American ball and absolute insanity per the usual. Jason, let's talk about this brawl.
Okay, so let me try to sum it up. I don't know everything about it. I saw the clips early on. So Rosario Central, this was the restart of the Superliga after the summer break. River had a couple of matches because they had so many games rescheduled in the Copa Libertadores madness, and they had Copa Argentina as well, and then they went over to the Club World Cup. So they had to make up some games ahead of time. This was the first full match week. So I guess in mid-season you just introduce a new kit because why not? And Rosario Central did. So they come out wearing like shirts over the jerseys, and it was kind of weird looking, especially because their striker Ortigoza he's a big boy, and in the normal big boy size that he is, plus 2 shirts on, he looked rather large. So they take the picture, the classic picture in front of the sponsor banner, and then take their warm-up shirts that were over the jerseys off, and they reveal the shirt, and it looks about the same as the last shirt did, but, it's all good. I guess the whole process got Ortigoza a little fired up because player goes down, it's a rough challenge near the touchline. Ortigoza is right there, loose ball right in front of the player on the ground for Huracan. Just blasts it right into his head, Why not? Players on the ground, you get a free shot. He just blasts the ball from about 3 feet away right into the Huracan player's head and starts a brawl. And the Huracan fans are trying to get at Ortigoza as he's being led down the dugout stairs. And they're separated by fencing and plexiglass, and there's barbed wire on top of the fencing. And Ortigoza's yelling back at him. And, I'm not messing with the guy. He's a big guy. I'm not starting to brawl with him, but there were a whole lot of Huracan fans together trying to do this, so it was a typical night in Argentina. It was good times.
AKA Thunderdome.
That's what it is. That's what it usually is. Nick, you said you saw River and Boca this weekend. River, it's not so good right now for River.
No, absolutely not. They've dropped their last 3. They've lost 3-1. The Patronato, then before that, they lost to Union, and then before that, Defensa y Justicia, which to me is my all-time favorite name of any soccer team ever. So
currently second in the table as well.
Hey, gotta love it. Solid defense. What can you say? But River they're just shambolic right now. Like you saw, if you watch this game, Patronato could do anything they wanted. It seemed like every time that that River's keeper would make a save, the ball would bounce back out, and then instead of it being swept up and transitioned away, River could do nothing with it. They would lose the ball in transition. They would lose the ball in defense. The forwards couldn't convert. This team, if you are wondering how Pity Martinez will do here in Atlanta, just know that River is absolutely shambolic without him. So River has to figure something out, because at the moment, I mean, you're sitting where? 12th place in the table for River? And yes, you diverted so many resources to, Copa Libertadores, but at the same time, I mean, Boca's sitting at 5th right now. Tied 1-1 with Newell's Old Boys. That was a very fun game, by the way. If you aren't watching Argentina Super League right now, get Fanatis or Fubo, however you have to do it, and just start watching because it's an absolute riot. But
River
it's a blast.
It's a fun league to watch.
River needs somebody who can possess the ball. River needs somebody who could score. Maybe they call Atlanta and say, hey, can you do something for Barco? What can we work out here? Because they have to have a miracle overnight.
So here's your update on the history of Defensa y Justicia, Nick's favorite Argentine club now. They were founded in 1935 just by a group of guys who wanted to start a team. Nobody seems to know how they got their name. That's the thing I don't get, is that's a pretty unique name.
Yes.
You would think there's some kind of story behind it. Nah, nobody knows. It's just, that's just what we're called. Club Social y Deportivo Defensa y Justicia. That's who they are.
I'm getting
you have to. I mean, it's green and yellow. It's great.
They weren't like lawyers or cops or anything? We don't...
No, nobody knows. They were
That's
promoted.
like the most 1980s thing ever, though. If they were like a team of cops who said we're going to bring justice to the Super League,
sure,
that would be the most 1980s movie plot ever.
But see, they were founded in 1935. It looks like they didn't really become official, playing in tournaments in the Argentine leagues until 1978. So I don't know what they were doing for 40-plus years. It's just part of the mystery of Defensa y Justicia. But they didn't get promoted to the top flight until 2014. So they've been a small club for a long time. But now they're in the top flight. They're in second in the table right now. I don't think they have ever played in Copa Sudamericana, or right now they would, I think, be in a Copa Libertadores spot. And this is one of the few clubs in Argentina that has been anywhere that hasn't had that opportunity. And they're undefeated this season. They're 10-0-6. They've only allowed 9 goals.
That's
Watch out
right.
for Defensa y Justicia.
That's my kind of club right there. Solid defensive effort. Get Felipe on the phone. We may have found my club.
Not gymnastics?
No. Defensa y Justicia is that's I have to go and get the tattoo done. We put streamers in the house. It needs to happen. But if you were a River Plate fan and you went out after they won the Copa Libertadores and you bought that jersey, I'm going to be hooked up. Look at the winner's jersey. You might want to just tuck it away for a little while until they get everything sorted out. I'm just letting you know, because Patronato had 4 shots on target and they won 3-1. So
it's an interesting table right now with Racing in the lead, 3 points clear of Defensa y Justicia. Atletico Tucumán is 3rd. Huracan is 4. Boca is 5. Vélez is 6. And Yamil Asad is trying to get a spot in Vélez's team. He was given the number 8 shirt. That's a pretty good sign that maybe there's a chance for him there. Boca has 2 games in hand over everybody ahead of them except for Tucumán. Vélez has 1. You mentioned River in 12th. One thing to keep in mind about this Argentine league, because it's chaos, when River was relegated a few years ago, they expanded the league to 30 teams, so the major teams would never get relegated again. Then a couple of years into that, they realized this is madness and we should not do this in our current format. So they're trying to get down to, I think, 20 again, but they're at 26 right now. So 12th out of 26 is not quite as bad as you might think, but River, that's not good enough for them.
Yeah, but you let the second worst team in the table drop 3 on you. That's horrible.
This is true.
That is no good at all. But a little bit of drama out of Boca, where Carlos Tevez, according to Juan Arango, said that, and I want to make sure that I quote this correctly. According to Carlos Tevez, I felt that no matter what I did, Guillermo Barros-Schelotto was not going to play me. I had to deal with lots of injustices and was disrespected. So,
Injusticia.
Yeah, yes. Dun, dun. Shocked in telenovela. But I'm just letting everyone know that if you're a LA Galaxy fan, that,
all the DPs.
Oh yes, all the DPs, and they're allegedly there's still rumor that they're trying to get Dario Benedetto, but I don't know how that's going to work. I still want to see how that calculus works out for them. But
one thing about the Galaxy that, as I've been digging into it, they actually could rework Roman Alessandrini's contract. Now, he said some things that hinted at, that's not going to be so easy. You're not going to be able to do that with me. But his contract, he's just barely over the maximum number for designated player over TAM. You might be able, I don't know what his acquisition cost was. I don't know what his true cap hit is. I'm not sure on that. But you could probably extend him over a longer period of time, sign him to a new deal, and spread the money out to where, okay, you can give him actually a little more money, probably give him an extra year guaranteed, and make him a TAM player. So I think they have a way out for one. Unless they're going to buy the Dos Santos brothers out or package them together and trade them to Daddy Yankee as a reggaeton act, I don't know how they're going to add Benedetto.
Old school reggaeton.
Do you know new school reggaeton, by the way? Because you keep saying old school reggaeton like that means something.
I'm just quoting the telephone commercial.
Oh, don't quote that guy. Oh, geez, that's the worst commercial out there.
It's reggaeton over there, ladies and gentlemen.
But here's a question. Have you seen that commercial or that? It's Verizon, right? Have you seen the Verizon ads in Spanish where they make fun of that guy? That's awesome.
Yes, and I love them.
I'm fully down with those. I like that they cross him over and he's just a fool in the Spanish language commercials and they make fun of him. That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen those yet, so clearly I need to step my game up.
I got something else for you, Nick, that I don't think you saw over the weekend.
Okay, let's go.
Did you see the possum run on the field in Mexico?
Oh, this was great.
Oh, I didn't see the game, but I saw the clip of the announcers and how they tracked him with like the player trackers.
Spot shadow. It's great.
Yes, it was incredible.
Yes, the Tlacuache, which is one of the greatest words I've ever seen in my life in Spanish. I guess it's possum in Spanish. He was named man of the match because he was working injured. Limping a little bit, but
back right.
He's okay. He animal group got him, gonna rehabilitate him before he goes back out of the wild. All worked out, and he was named man of the match. So what I love is that Puebla comes out on Twitter to get after Veracruz because Veracruz is really struggling these days, and Puebla says that the possum got closer to the 18 to the box than Veracruz did in the whole match.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's shade.
I like it.
That's amazing. Yeah, they did the spot shadow where it showed him kind of limping a little bit, and I saw that they commended his effort for running across the field. So good for the possum. Way to be a survivor.
That's a tough possum. I like it. Maybe that'll inspire Veracruz to not stink so much.
Well, I wish it would have inspired Lazio because they had a chance to.
Maybe they need a possum.
Yeah, we need to do that. Just let it loose on the field, see what happens. But Lazio had a shot to put down Juve, and I'm convinced that Juventus are the Patriots of Serie A because if you make one or two mistakes, it's a wrap, and it's just something where. Juve has this ability, like the Undertaker, where you think you've beaten them, and they just like rise up, and you're like, "Good God, how?"
The casket's on fire.
That's right. The casket's on fire. He's been tombstoned through the match. It doesn't matter. The Undertaker comes back, and Lazio had shot after shot where they could have been up 3-0 on Juve. Nope, not going to happen. And of course, the mysterious penalty call comes towards Juve's favor at the end. Juve walks away with the points. Napoli dropped points versus Milan. Milan proves to be continuously a tough out for everyone, which blows my mind. But Piatek came on for about 20 minutes, the new signing from Genoa. He looked very dangerous, and it just really shows that, when Gonzalo Higuain left, that Milan really upgraded, and poor Gonzalo being dropped by Juve, being dropped by Milan, only wanted by. And if you guys have not seen the social media posts, it's horrible because they keep posting pictures of Nutella under anything.
Explain the Nutella and Gonzalo Higuain thing to me, because I caught some of it, but I wasn't sure how all this started.
Well, he looks like he's out of shape. He looks like, when Gonzalo is not properly motivated, he kind of lumbers around. And it started looking like he was getting a little bit of a belly on him. And that's when you start seeing the Nutella pictures come up. Like, okay, what's Fat Boy eating over here? If he's not running and he's gaining weight, he's not working hard on the pit. What's going on? And so this has happened time and time again. Cassano was the victim of the Nutella trolls for a while. But,
Swedish power bars.
But yeah, if you end up with and if you hear some of the stories from the old Napoli days when they were sponsored by Mars and they would get bags and bags of candy, it was like the same thing. So did
you watch Diego Maradona during his time at Napoli?
Yeah, it's easy to gain weight in Italy. But what happens is now you have teams that will ban players from getting Nutella sponsorships if they prove that they have a hard time keeping weight off. So, Gonzalo gained a little bit of weight. He became the latest victim of the Nutella trolls. So Chelsea posted, "Hey, we have Gonzalo. He's here." And they're posting videos of him hitting upper 90s and training. And if you search 20 posts below, it's nothing but pictures of Nutella. So poor Gonzalo. Hopefully he finds the piece that he needs at Chelsea. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work, but, whatever. But one person who is very fit and scoring like a madman is Fabio Quagliarella for Sampdoria. He just went absolutely bonkers this past weekend. He had 2 penalties, but he was active. He's flying around. He's somehow, in his 30s, a better player than he ever was in his 20s. So if you want to see a team and you want to have somebody to get behind, and you're like me, you're 38, and even
Serie A's Roger Clemens.
I'm just saying, somebody you can get behind.
That carries some speculation with it, sir. What are you saying about Quagliarella?
Well, first of all, let's say that we will say that Fabio is under no storm clouds of performance enhancements.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Wanted to make sure.
None.
Yeah. So we'll put that out there.
He's having that career boost late in the career.
See, there you go again. You're planting seeds.
Go. What I think this is? I think that he is comfortable at Sampdoria. He's the captain, and as a result of that, he finally feels at peace. And the two, if you go to any soccer team, the biggest head cases are going to be your keeper and your forwards.
Oh yeah.
And the forwards, especially, if anyone who has I don't care if you can do whatever you want, but if the head's not right, I don't care. You're done. You're out. But Fabio has found a way to score golazo after golazo. These random jumping back spin kick goals. It's nuts. It's out there, but he's doing it. So the jerseys, if you're looking for a team to support, the Sampdoria jerseys look really cool. They're very classic. They have a great story with Fabio. So that's a team that I would, if you're looking for a team still, there you go. That's
okay.
One team.
Before we finish up with England, let's set the scene for Italy a little bit. So there's not a lot of drama. Juventus is 11 points clear at the top. They got the title. You can go ahead and give them the trophy. Just don't let Jason Witten break it. Napoli's second, 48 points. They're 8 points clear of third place Inter. Your top three are pretty much done.
No, they're not.
No?
No. Inter,
You think
this
Inter?
is about the time of year when Inter turns into a dumpster fire.
Okay.
And there's already rumors that Antonio Conte has been on the phone with ownership to take over the team in the summer. So Inter,
wow.
they're
so that's just stupid.
Yeah, well,
there's just no other explanation. That's just stupid.
Yeah, well, welcome to Italy. But
okay, fair enough.
Is not doing enough. He has a team that they've made investments in. The Nangolan move did not work out nearly as well as they thought it would. It's really backfired on them. You have Icardi, who's having to drop back to the midfield to try to get service. It's not really working out, and they're going to make a move. I think Inter could drop out of the top three fairly easily.
So since the league came back, they have drawn with Sassuolo, and they've lost to Torino. And they're in the Coppa Italia quarterfinals against Lazio on Thursday before next match, Sunday against Bologna. Okay, so they're a little bit of a stumble. Okay, so they don't have third sealed. Then for fourth, and that's your final Champions League spot. Right now it's Milan on 35, Roma 34, Sampdoria 33, Atalanta, Lazio 32. Maybe Fiorentina and Torino still have a shout at it at 30 all the way down to 10th?
I think Fiorentina and Lazio are the two teams that could probably have the biggest spring, for lack of a better term, simply because Fiorentina is they're sort of schizophrenic, but they have the talent to move up. I don't know if they have the talent to get to the top four, but it's theoretically possible if Inter and Milan start stumbling too much. Lazio should be doing better than what they're doing. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic is an incredible player who's just had an off year. Ciro Immobile is somebody who he's one of those guys who should have scored against Juve. But, Atalanta can score, Sampdoria can score. Roma is a team that I think they're going to fall off because they're trying too hard to make the top four. And Di Francesco has shown that whenever he gets in a bad way, he doesn't know how to adjust and change his tactics enough to stem the damage. So he doesn't know how to save a game. And as a result of that, they're broke. They have I wouldn't say broke, but they're very tight financially. So it's not like they can go and just bring in a ton of players. They may be able to get a player for 25, 30 mil tops, but you're not going to see a $65, $75 million transfer for Roma. So there's no real reinforcement coming from them.
Interesting. So Italy, there's no drama at the top, but you're going to have some storylines here in the second half of the season, especially for that final Champions League spot. And we'll see what happens in Coppa Italia and the rest. All right, let's get to England. We've talked a lot about Newcastle at the back of the league. They're 2 points clear of a relegation spot. That is something to keep an eye on. Next for them, they play Manchester City tomorrow. Yeah.
Good luck.
They're hosting them. I mean, it's going to be in Newcastle. Yay. That's about
Thanks
all.
for dropping by.
Yeah. Does that change anything for Newcastle? Who knows?
God, no.
Nope.
We'll see. So that's the bottom of the table. I mean, it's Cardiff, it's Fulham, it's Huddersfield below Newcastle. Burnley, Southampton, Crystal Palace are ahead. Beyond that, you're in the middle gaggle. So, top of the table, Liverpool 4 points clear of Manchester City. Tottenham 5 points back in third. Chelsea's in fourth on 47. Arsenal's on 44. And then Manchester United just keeps winning somehow, some way. Ole Gunnar just keeps doing it.
OG.
They're 3 points out of the final Champions League spot, which was unheard of a month ago.
Yeah. No, I this is one where I'm eating crow. I very rarely say I was wrong, but in this case I was very wrong. And the turnaround has been magnificent. I mean, there's no other word for it. And the fact that you still have pundits who come on and talk about Paul Pogba is not someone who can win you trophies, yet ignore the fact that he had like 4 Scudetti, a Coppa Italia, and what's that other tournament, guys? The World Cup.
That one. Yeah,
that's
true.
Skip my mind. Yeah.
I've heard of it.
But yeah, so the turnaround's been absolutely incredible, and Arsenal kind of, with their struggles on defense, how they're talking about they're open to bringing in 2 new players. Talking about Spurs having so many injury issues. The top 4's there. They could do it. I was completely wrong. Sign Ole, get him in. Long-term deal. Link it up and get it done.
So you give him the contract now?
I give him the contract now. I was wrong. I let my concern and pragmatism get in the way of just embracing the fact that the turnaround has been so magnificent that we really have no choice, because they were such a titanic dumpster fire earlier in the year that we were talking about blowing the team up, and now you're sitting just outside of the Champions League spot.
You are 3 points out.
3 points.
That's insane. That's just ridiculous. John, what else do we need to know about England, Championship or Premier League or anything else England related?
Championship, big matchup coming up in match week 30 with Leeds and Norwich City. Leeds right now 3 points ahead, 57-54. And then the teams vying for the playoff spot for the third promotion berth, separated by 5 points. Then you go from Derby, who is 6th, 7 points separating 6th through 14th. The FA Cup draw round 5, which is basically what we refer to as the Sweet 16, came out today. And one of the matchups that I will be paying attention to, AFC Wimbledon, who knocked off West Ham, goes up against Millwall, who beat Everton.
Blank you on Millwall.
Yeah, that's what they do. But here's the crazy one in the FA Cup. Barnet and Brentford, 3-3 today. Barnet is in what league?
The National. They are in the beer leagues.
What level would that technically be?
Like
the 5th or the 6th division? I mean, where does it fall?
It would be one below League 2. So
they're right below League 2. So they'd be the 5th
so
division.
That'd be 5th division, yeah.
Okay. And then Brentford is in what, League 1?
I think they're in League 1, right?
I don't know if they're League 1 or if they're Championship. But that's
efforting.
Craziness for a 3-3 draw here. And Barnet needed a goal in the 75th to level it. They were peppered by Brentford. 27 shots from Brentford.
Good God.
You see stats come up, and we talk about it all the time. It's like, stats aren't really that important in soccer. It's not that big of a deal. But
they're taking on my Swansea boys in the next round. Winner of that one.
The winner of that faces Swansea. 27 shots for Brentford. Only 10 on target. So Barnett's goalkeeper, who could have been allegedly, coming out of the pub from lunch, made 7 saves in an FA Cup 4th round game.
That guy's not buying a beer ever again in his town.
Oh, that's wild. They played at the Hive Stadium. I guess Barnet hosted.
Yes. Because I think they're the Bees, and I think that's why they call it the Hive.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, that works. So we at least know what their name is. We don't know why Defensa y Justicia is named Defensa y Justicia, and this is going to be a mystery that must be solved before next week.
For
Absolutely.
real.
On it.
That's your homework, everybody.
And one thing for all you Chelsea fans out there, FIFA is in the middle of an investigation of over 100 transfers of Chelsea.
That's a lot.
I'm trying to get the terminology correct, for improper transfers of under 18-year-olds, which Chelsea is saying that, hey, look, they were trialists. They were not. That's the loophole. They were on trial. They were not actually signed players for Chelsea. That will be the defense. But they could be looking at a transfer ban, which is why the whole Callum Hudson-Odoi deal could possibly not be solved one way or the other this January. So also explains why they had to do the loan deal for Higuain the way they did with the obligated next year. So that way.
And Morata out to Atletico for 18 months.
Yeah, speaking of head cases, somebody who really needs to get sorted, that poor guy. Hopefully that turns his career around. But, gentlemen,
probably the other big news, we should mention that Neymar will be out for a little while.
Neymar.
That's correct. He will be missing both legs of the Champions League tie against Man United.
He's actually injured. There's no rolling around acting or any of that. He's really injured.
No. They're debating whether or not he needs surgery, which will be the difference between a couple on his foot. So either he'll be out for a couple of months or for the rest of the year. So not really great times down at PSG. So
if you haven't seen if you haven't seen the goal from Barnett that they equalized, it's one you need to go check out. It's a beautiful free kick off the underside of the crossbar.
Brentford, 18th in the championship, so they're hanging around the relegation
fight.
So
they are in the championship, but they might be in League One next year, and they drew with a 5th division team. That's not good.
Yeah, buddy.
Good times. We'll see what chaos we can find for next week.
England.
But yes, we will be keeping track of all the transfers. It's only going to get more insane from here. So smoke them if you got them. You know, just sit back, relax. Jason, I'm talking to you. Sit back, relax. Transfer season's okay.
RELAX.
Yeah, you guys don't have to try to explain this on a regular basis.
But yes, we are talking about putting together a transfer super show. Let us know if that's something that you guys would be down with, and we will let you know how that shakes out.
Yeah, it's kind of touch and go. We'll see how things go in the window between now and Thursday. And if there is a certain player from Atlanta United that everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen, and there's the possibility of something happening on Thursday, then we might be live in some form or fashion to talk to you guys on Thursday. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. We appreciate it. As always, if you are tuning in on the podcatchers, if you are listening to us live, joining us on Twitter, however you do it, we want to say thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsors. And most of all, guys, thank you for taking time to tolerate me coming over here and yelling at you guys randomly for God knows what. So it is appreciated. Thank you so much. And guys, how can we catch you? What are you up to? Where can we find you?
Well, first, make sure you're following Sock Over There for all the latest from Soccer Over There, for sure.
That's
and
right.
and Nick Alifi on Twitter as well. Make sure you're following him because
I've heard of
he
it.
breaks all the Soccer Over There news before anybody else. For us, you can follow the show, Soccer Down Here. You can follow me at Longshoe. And we'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on the usual outlets, on the app, on the website, soccerdownhere.net, and on Spreaker.
And I'm at OSG Nelson on the Twitter, so like, follow, and be a part of the conversation all across the board.
There we go. Okay, we will see you next time over via Hot Drops and Transfer Super Shows and God knows what. But until then, get your money right and get it in line, baby, because it is that time of the year. The tax man is coming. Mucha Euro, y'all. Move to an offshore account. Don't tell anyone.
A lot of lyric.